Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about set items and explain each and every one of them, how they working, and which one should you choose for your class or your playstyle. Starting with Grace of the Flagellant, this set increases your damage by 15%, and once you hit an enemy 5 times you will do some extra damage for 4 pieces. On 6 pieces, each time you deal damage you have a 4% chance to unleash a lightning strike dealing damage. Now this set is not particularly useful, I haven't seen anyone using it really, because there are plenty of other sources that can increase your damage with higher values. Therefore it might be useful in the beginning, but I don't recommend it to anyone in the long run. Next we have the Untouchable Mount Back. Each time you take damage you have a 20% chance to get an Absorb Shield that absorbs damage equal to 30% of your maximum life. This one might be useful in PvP, but as far as I've seen, most people just go with damage builds and don't particularly focus on defense sets. At 4 pieces, the damage absorption increases to 33% of your maximum life, and you can move unhindered through enemies. If you're considering using this set so you can move through enemies easier, don't, because the Brawler Paragon does the same thing. Now on 6 pieces it might be more useful in PvP, but the trade-off is too big, because you can virtually use no other set if you want this 6-piece bonus. Next we have War Rags of Shalbaz. Primary attack damage increases by 15%. Your primary attacks gradually increase your primary attack speed up to a maximum of 25%. And on 6 pieces your primary attacks have a 5% chance to increase your primary attack speed for 12 seconds. This is also not very good, because if your class doesn't have any skills that increase your primary attack speed, it means you're not supposed to play with primary attack. Isatar Imbued, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Each time you defeat an enemy, you gain 30% increased movement speed, and damage dealt increases by 2.5% for every 5% increase in your movement speed, up to a maximum damage of 25%. This one might be useful for Monk, if you're playing the AoE build, because there's this skill which damage increases for every movement speed you have. I apologize for my professional cropping skills. However, you should stop at 4 pieces, because that way you can use 4 pieces of another set. The Soul Orb coming from 6 pieces barely deals any damage, so it's not really worth it. Next in line we have Windlaft Perfection. This one also increases your movement speed and increases your damage done while the movement speed buff is active. At 6 pieces you get a shield that absorbs damage. Might be useful in PvP, but I haven't tested, and in my opinion it's too big of a trade-off to use 6 pieces just for some shields. 400% of your damage as a shield. If let's say you have 30k damage on average, you'll only get 120k damage absorption, which is not really much. Next we have Shepherd's Call to the Wolves. This one was particularly useful for Necromancer back in the day, as most Necromancers were using summons, and you will increase your damage and critical hit chance for every active summon. But nowadays the best builds for Necromancer don't use summons, so it's not really useful as well. But don't worry, there's another set that's really useful for Necromancer, or should I say plenty of them, plenty of other sets, which we'll get to soon. This one, the Feasting Baron's pack, is incredibly useful, especially for Necromancer and sometimes Crusader, depending on your build, because this increases the duration of your harmful effects. And both Necromancer and Crusader have really powerful builds that trigger all the continual damage at once, and continual damage is directly influenced by the duration of harmful effects, so you want it to last as long as possible. It will make your burn effects, bleed effects, poison effects last 30% longer. Most players only use 2 pieces of this set, but I also know players that use 4 pieces for the extra damage. Next we'll have Vitus Urges, which is another really popular set because it increases the beneficial effects you apply to yourself by 30%, which means that every buff you're granting yourself will last longer. Damage increase effects, shield effects, critical hit chance effects, critical hit damage effects, you name it. All of the buffs you're granting yourself will last longer. You can pair this set with duration of beneficial effects increase and with cooldown reduction, so you can have almost 100% uptime to your skills and beneficial effects. Next we have the Gloomguide's Prize, which is a set I use on Tempest. At 4 pieces it increases your damage and your critical hit chance whenever you use a dash skill, which is pretty useful if you're not capped on critical hit rate. But it's only useful for classes that use dash skills, like Tempest, Monk, Blood Knight sometimes depending on your build. Druid, it can be useful for Druid too, especially if you play the Werewolf. Next we have Banquet of Eyes. Dealing damage to enemies suffering from continual damage effects increases by 15%, and your critical hit chances increase by 2.5%. This is sort of a substitute for the Gloomguide's Prize that we were talking about earlier, for classes that don't use dash skills but want increased critical hit chance from continual damage effects. And when I say continual damage effects, I mean everything that deals damage continuously. Burn, poison, bleeding, you name it. Players usually also only use 4 pieces of this set and combine it with other sets. Next in line we have Seeds of the Sown Gold. This one is especially useful for classes that channel, and for now the only class that is amazing with channeling is Demon Hunter, as you have this essence that makes you channel your primary attack. At 4 pieces, when you stop channeling, you will unleash an explosion dealing 30% of the damage you caused to the enemy, which can be huge. Next we have Angman's Conflagration, another amazing set for Necromancer, because not only it increases your burn status duration if you already have one, but at 4 pieces it makes your skills or primary attack burn enemies. Now why is this amazing for Necromancer? Because you have this essence, which will trigger all of your continual damage at once, and this set offers insane amounts of continual damage that you can trigger over and over again. Next we have Prayer for Endwinter. This one is focused on freezing and chilling enemies. I've only seen this used by wizards with this essence. It's not very useful or great in PvE, but it's really annoying in PvP. So if you're into that kind of thing, go for it. It's basically a set for crowd control skills. Further on we have the Wildfire Imperative, which increases the duration of your Firestorm. What's a Firestorm, you ask? Basically whenever you use wind damage and fire damage you will trigger a Firestorm. And at 4 pieces you will summon a Tornado. It's not really one of the best sets, and I haven't seen anyone use it really. I mean, it was hyped when it came out, but it quickly lost popularity, because the Firestorm barely deals any damage, and there are much better builds out there. This one was also popular when it came out, Skybreaker's Bolt. Basically, when you deal damage, it shocks nearby enemies and launches a chain lightning at 4 pieces. So it does the same thing as the Void Spark Gem, but it takes 4 slots of your set items, which is a really poor trade-off. So I wouldn't recommend anyone using this. Don't be fooled by the damage numbers, cause it's really low. Next we have one of my favorite sets and the newest one, Restitution in Blood. Dealing damage to an enemy applies Fated Prey and increases the damage dealt to them by 35%. This is a community's favorite set, because not only it increases your damage dealt to the enemy, but at 4 pieces it deals damage directly proportional to the damage inflicted. Note that most people use 4 pieces and combine it with another set. That was all, thank you for watching, and if you found this useful, please subscribe. See you in the next one.